welcome back. It's a Wednesday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. In hour 2 on Wednesdays, we're going to start covering a lot more business, a lot more tech, and we're going to call it Wild West Wednesdays. My friends, we got that cowboy hat. My friend Drew Taylor came down a couple weeks ago from the Wild West Crypto Show and brought me my very own cowboy hat, so I liked wearing it. So we're going to do Women Wednesdays and Wild West Wednesdays. And also, yesterday my friend was here from Simply Mary's, and these are vegan chocolate pops, which we're going to test out a little later if you want one. But check out Simply Mary's vegan pops at on Instagram at Simply Mary's _. So David Starobin, you've been in the trenches. You've been battled it out. You're an attorney. You were a state legislator. You represented the 27th District, Assembly District. And you have been one of our most loyal guests on Liquid Lunch from when we were in this little tiny room back in May, if you remember. And I always appreciate you coming down. Thanks for coming in today. Frankie's absent, so I'm freewheeling it. But you're into now the topic, and a lot of people are looking at it, but the tech companies are going after conservative people and websites, and they're deplatforming people, they're stopping services to people. What's happening, and what can we do about it?
Well, what's happening is that in 2016, the social media decided that it's not fair that Donald Trump won. For whatever reason, they decided they don't like it, they don't like him. There were all sorts of leaked videos, audio saying that we hate Donald Trump. We should not have let this happen. And there was actually a study done that they stole somewhere between 2.6 and 10.4 million votes just by managing the Google results, the Facebook results, so that people will read more bad news than good news about Donald Trump and more good news about Hillary. So what happened is that they decided that was not enough. Clearly he won, so we got to go after everyone who is going to do anything online that's going to be pro-Republican. So they claim that everyone is radicalized. So Steven Crowder, they claim is a far-right
We had on Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer got deplatformed
everywhere
as a white nationalist. Meantime, she's a Jewish girl.
Well, the same thing happened with Ben Shapiro and another Jewish social media personality, where they claimed, we know that these are Nazis, so we should ban them. I'm like, those guys are Orthodox Jews wearing a yarmulke.
Right. What are the rules of evidence in the social media mob?
Well,
you know?
As Ben Shapiro said, yarmulke must have given it away that I'm a Nazi.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's what must have given it away. Because the idea is that we'll ban every Republican out there. So I had my own social media page from my days as state senator. I had about 14,000 likes on it. A lot of people were communicating with each other. There were comments, there were arguments. Yep. All of a sudden, it all disappears. I never got one strike. I never got one suspension. I never got a warning. I never got anything.
They shut you
nothing.
Down.
It's not that they shut me down. It's that all of a sudden people are unable to see me, which is called shadow banning.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, nobody can see my
webpage.
Shadow ban, yeah.
It's my friend Robert Orff, who's a New Jersey Republican legislator in the Assembly down there, and he is sponsoring a bill. I saw a draft up the other day that they're going to fine the social media companies for basically disqualifying people for their preference in politics, for a better word. And you think legislation like that could pass?
Well, the way that it should be is this. There's two types of ways you can run a website online that deals with politics. You can either be a publisher, which is New York Times, New York Post, Fox News, whoever. And they can run a web page and claim this is our point of view. So if you want to be a conservative, if you want to be a Democrat, that's all up to you, obviously. There is a second position, there's a second way that you can do it, which is that you claim to be a platform. If you're a platform, then you're not responsible for what anyone else says. So if you are WordPress doesn't regulate whether you're a Republican, whether you're a Democrat. You can go online and you can write about whatever you want, history or anything weird. It doesn't matter. the social media has decided that on the one hand, they want to be a platform so that they will get protection from being sued in case someone writes something that should not be online. So somebody threatens someone.
They can't protect. They can't violate your First Amendment to protect themselves. Let me help you with. I know it's getting hot in here. It's 90 degrees in New York today in October.
And we're wearing
The
suits.
global warming must really be kicking in. Oh my God. Manhattan Island may be underwater in 2 hours unless cows stop farting.
Yeah, well, you better not have those burgers, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
So what they
All of this is real meat. I can tell you that.
Some of those olives. So
But this is a vegan, organic vodka, and no animals were harmed in its production. So everything is good. But sorry, Dave. Can we get legislation?
So we can get legislation saying they need to be either a publisher or a platform. If they are going to be a publisher, then they can regulate and only publish liberal propaganda, which is fine. But in that case, they're responsible for every single word that's on their page, the same way that the New York Times is responsible for every single word that's on the pages, online or offline, of the New York Times. That's basically the choice that they have to make. If they want to be a platform, then they cannot regulate speech. They should let us be pro-Republican or pro-Democrat, obviously if somebody violates the law.
So it's getting so bad now that you almost have to have two Facebooks. Like another company has to emerge. This is the social media site. We're so divided. We need another social media site for free thinking, independents, libertarians, conservatives, Republicans.
It's impossible. There were multiple attempts. First off, they condemn all those people as far right. It doesn't matter, again, if they're black, if they're Jewish, if whatever they are, they're still far right racist Nazis.
Nationalists.
Not even nationalists. They claim that they are Nazis, just
Nazis.
like no matter who it is.
Got it.
Second part is that they make it impossible to operate. So they go and they lean on MasterCard and Visa and Discover and American Express to not allow them to accept credit cards. They lean
Screw up their payment, access to money.
Exactly.
Access to money.
They lean on advertisers not to advertise there. They do everything possible to destroy those companies. And when you are some guy in a basement, the way that Facebook used to be in a basement.
Yeah.
So if you're some guy in a basement trying to create a company that 5-10 years from now might be, you can't beat Facebook.
Why don't you start if you want, I'll even be your lead plaintiff, because I've been definitely been slammed around on social media by limiting the amount of people my posts go to, and when I put up some stuff from Liquid Lunch, they say it's too political, and they reject it for sponsored ads and stuff. Why don't we go after them? Because it's not just Facebook. It's Twitter, it's Instagram,
YouTube,
it's
more than anyone else.
YouTube, right? Why don't we do a civil RICO? Because it is a RICO. It is, because they're all in cahoots. They're all doing the same thing, and they're all putting pressure on MasterCard and PayPal and Visa and that stuff. Why doesn't anybody go after them on that level?
Well,
because not to mention, if some good Russian boys or some good Italian boys were doing this, they're getting paid on both sides of the ledger, right? They're getting paid from you in one way or another through processing fees and everything else, and then they're taking your data and they're reselling it. So they're making 2 times off you. And then when they don't feel like your commerce is the type of commerce they want anymore, they cut you off. That's not America.
Well, one issue with it also is the fact that it's going to spread. So JP Morgan Chase is now banning some people because they find their views objectionable. So where is this going to stop? Is it going to get to a point where if you're going to go to Whole Foods and you're going to try to get some food, or Walmart, all of a sudden you can't buy food because you're a Republican? And they're going to claim that everyone is a radical. And yes, there are some radicals, but even radicals have the right to free speech.
There's radicals on all sides.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
The radicals have the right to not riot on the street the way Antifa riots on the street.
Here's one of the things that was always beautiful about America and why it's really a republic and a democracy with a small d. Because you could have all of these things all the way out to the fringes, which makes it like a perfect petri dish for everything. And you need even the outer edges for it to operate, but they want to be select, right? They want to put the X and the Y chromosomes together and only let these people talk thoughtfully.
The respectable opinion, what's called the Overton window, is not necessarily right every time. So the Soviet Union, there was a respectable opinion where you were a communist. That was the respectable opinion. If you were a regular person, whoever it is, engineer, teacher, you were a communist. And then you needed some crazy people stand up and say, no, this is insane. No, I'm going to be the one crazy person to say communism is bad. And because of those few crazy people is why the Soviet Union fell. That's why.
If you need a few crazy people, you just tune into Liquid Lunch every single day from 12 to 2. Thoughtful, intelligent conversation. But if you're not willing to be a little crazy, you ain't ever going to be great. We'll take a quick break and we'll be even great again after this.